How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about which cloud platform provider you should choose if you're trying to learn the cloud. Should it be AWS, Azure, or GCP? And long story short, it's going to be AWS. So if you don't want to watch the rest of this video, there's your spoiler alert. Learn AWS and get on with it. Now, if you want to know why I like to back that up and my statistics to show that why AWS should be the first cloud platform you should learn, stay tuned and let's get into this. All right. So the only way to make a claim like this is we got to provide it with some data. I might be biased towards AWS because it was the first one I learned, but AWS was the first to market. They were the first to have all the advanced features. They were the first to have all of the major hosting versions that we're looking for, minus Kubernetes because obviously that went to Google. But when it came to serverless and managed databases, they did it right first. So AWS has been in the game longer and they've been doing it right, if you ask me. So let's start looking at some surveys from the past year or so to see why, if you're looking to get into cloud, it should be AWS. So first up is none less than the Stack Overflow survey from this year. You could even look at the one from last year. But if you look at from professional developers, all the respondents, 55% work within AWS. Azure's not even close at 30, Google Cloud at 26. Those are the big three thrown around. People like to call DigitalOcean and Linode cloud. To me, they're more PaaS and VMs. They're not full cloud. Cloud is everything managed and events. So if you're looking to get into the cloud, you want to look at the big three. So if you actually look at these, Google Cloud, they were the one to make Kubernetes. They open sourced it and they have the best managed Kubernetes offering. But outside of that, it's just standard across the board. Azure obviously has its leniency towards Microsoft shops and Microsoft things. But if you're getting into cloud, AWS, that's where people are working in and that's where most of the jobs are at. I can tell you right now, we have a hard time in the past few jobs that I had getting good AWS, DevOps, SRE folks, anybody with AWS experience, good experience. There's so many open jobs out there. They're hard to fill. So if you get learning, stick with AWS. Now, AWS is not just a cloud. I mean, they are the cloud. But if you move forward, looking at some other things like the Datadog state of serverless. Serverless is growing. Containers are still the big thing with Kubernetes and the CNCF. But you can see most organizations that are running serverless in the cloud are also running AWS and then GCP and Azure. Those are tied. AWS is king once again when it comes to serverless. Serverless architecture with an AWS phenomenal. Step functions is one of my favorite AWS tools. It's just cool to be able to orchestrate multiple different Lambdas and get them incorporated with the whole entire ecosystem. When it comes to serverless, AWS is king once again. Now, let's look at jobs. And you can see some of my messages over here because people like to send me job offers every day. But let's look at what's going on within Indeed. If you just search for AWS in the US, there is 180,000 results. That's a lot. That's a lot of jobs. Now, this could be developer roles. It could be DevOps roles. It could be a lot of different roles. But there is 180,000 jobs looking with expertise in AWS. And if you compare this to something like, let's say, React, 119,000. React's the hottest web development framework out there. Everything is React, 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 React. So there's technically more AWS jobs than there are React jobs. So that's proof right there from Indeed. Now, if you want to talk about AWS and Azure, Azure is a very big player in the game, and the way they handle their cloud thing is they market O365 within it. However, if someone's already ingrained in those ecosystems, they're going to be looking for Azure people. And Azure is still more jobs than what's looking for React. Now, there might be React jobs with Azure and AWS in a job description, but you can see Azure, 137,000 results in the United States alone. Compare to GCP, 64,000. Everybody loves to say GCP is awesome, but GCP has also not returned a profit this year. They've been struggling to return profit for the past 2 years, I believe. So take it what you will. So if you're looking to get into cloud and you're looking to level up your either your software development game or go from a sysadmin or level up from on-premise DevOps, learn AWS. They have all the tools there, the jobs are there, and the certifications are there. There's everything can work with AWS. All the vendors have integrations to AWS. You use GitHub Actions, you use GitLab CI. They have baked in documentation for working with AWS. So AWS is king when it comes to cloud. Sorry if I ruffled anyone's feathers. It's just fact at this point. AWS has a market share. AWS has the tools. AWS has the most advanced services. But, however, that comes with the complexity, which we can get into that in a minute here. So let's just move a little bit forward. So why look at all three at the same one? Because sometimes the job description will say AWS, GCP, or Azure experience preferred. Now, this is very important to note for one reason, because if you learn one cloud, you can learn the rest. Now, AWS has some specific services on its end. Azure has some of its specific services to its platform, and so does GCP. But the core functionality of buckets and storage, VPCs and networking, load balancing, firewalls, security groups, permissions, they're all pretty much the same. They're handling permissions against the API, and if you understand the cloud operating model, you can move between clouds. But I would not learn more than one at first. It is very complex, there's a lot going on, and you'll just simply burn out. So, if you learn AWS very well for a few years, I've messed with GCP and I've messed with Azure. So if you learn these for a few years and you can jump to another one and get running pretty damn quickly. Like I've built my own VPCs in Azure. I've done my own stuff in GCP because I have experience in AWS and designing cloud architecture. It's very transferable. They use the same terms, like I said, VPCs and buckets. Now, it's important to note here that is AWS, Azure, and GCP are the top three. If you're looking for cloud experience with Linode and DigitalOcean, don't even waste your time. If it's for a pet project, whatever. But if you're looking to get real cloud work, you have to use one of the top three. Now, I mentioned market share. Why market share? Because we can see where the jobs are at. But who has the market? This big blue line across the middle, once again, goes to AWS at 32 all the way to 33%, depending on a quarter. Microsoft Azure, 13.7 and 17, and if you go all the way up into the current year, 22%. So they've slowly been growing. Look at Google Cloud in the gray, 7% into 9%. That's why you need to learn AWS, 100%. Right there, there's the facts. Who has the market? Now, this big orange is the whole big ball of mud of everything else that exists. That's Linode, that's DigitalOcean, that's those are the only ones I really know. Vultre's another one. So all those got companied in here and just create the others. So if you're looking for a cloud job that pays very well, you're going to get AWS. I can tell you right now, we look for software engineers everywhere I've worked that has AWS experience because developing against AWS apps is a lot different than developing against something in Linode. You need to know how to work with the ecosystem to an extent. So where do we go from here? Now, if I were you, pick one of these. Don't pick one of these. Pick AWS and stick with it. The only other way I would not use AWS, though, is if you're in a current job that is heavy in Azure and you're looking to transfer into the cloud, then I would choose Azure, because if you can transfer laterally within a company into another position, then pick Azure. But if you're the other 90% of the people that are not trying to stick with an Azure ecosystem, you're going to be picking AWS. And that's really it. Quick, dirty, to the point. And if you made it this far, thank you once again, and if you've enjoyed this video, click the thumbs up, click the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.